Master Cheeks is back.
Master Cheeks.
Do we see Cheeks?
No, we just see him in the shower.
Damn it.
But he is naked again in the first episode. Within 20 minutes, he is once again naked.
If they're already going to do his like helmets off all the time, they might as well just have his butt out.
The whole time.
The whole time. He's just completely naked. Because what does he care?
He has a chip now. He took out the chip, so he cares.
Surely when he had his chip, he was just walking around completely naked because he was like,
The locker room.
what does it affect? Season 1 was fun because I was like, oh, it's a jackal. Oh, it's a grunt. It's like, I wonder if they've churned too many of those out now where we won't get many of those member berries for season 2. But then again, I don't want the show to only do that to hook me. I want it to be a good show on its own merits without having to be a video game show, you know?
And I think it 100% fails as a standalone show. And I think it's got, like, the Halo show has an identity crisis and it doesn't know what it is. What it wants to be is it wants to be Game of Thrones. And the writers want Game of Thrones. Paramount Plus wants its own Game of Thrones. But then they've picked a universe that is almost solely focused on Master Chief. And that doesn't really work for most people. Because, like, you're saying you like it because of the member berries, but what they're going to start pulling from, and apparently what they're already pulling from heavily, is the books.
But I thought that they... like on season 1, they were like, we didn't play the games, we didn't read the books, we didn't watch
Apparently
this,
a bunch
we
of
didn't
stuff
play
is
that.
from the books, like Madrigal and all that are from the books, and a lot of the glassings of all the other planets, because I guess the game doesn't have time to go into it. But when you're treating the game like it almost doesn't exist and you're solely going off the books and you're just doing like, it's a sci-fi universe where there's an invading clan of aliens, none of the aliens really feel distinct from each other. I guess the elites now have swords and are sometimes horror villains. But yeah, you end up with
sometimes they're invisible.
You end up with a nondescript villain, and then we also don't care about our lead character because he was completely bland, and then he turned into like a baby seeing everything for the first time. But they got that out of the way, and now he's kind of just walking around worried about things, but not like anything we care about. They tried to take the Game of Thrones political intrigue and give it to like Halsey and different people like that, and then they tried to make the White Walkers the Covenant. They're coming, so we're not really seeing much battle with the actual Covenant. It's more they're coming.
This is like very reminiscent of like those late seasons of Game of Thrones where it's like White Walkers were like killing people and they're like getting closer, and like we're seeing that and stuff. It's like, oh my god,
except we've had none of the build up, so we actually care about.
And also like we don't really know how close they are in relation to like Reach, because like we see in the first episode they glass a planet, but it's like I don't think they mention at all like this is in the outer rim of our system or something.
Like we spend like 5 minutes with arguing people on a planet called Sanctuary, and then 10 minutes later the planet's glassed. And it's like, I don't give a shit.
Like I understand it's probably coming closer because the people were like, you moved us from our last planet for this same reason, but it's like I don't know if that's like they just moved them over here or they moved them closer, like to be like
and also
a sister
light
planet.
speed exists, so like, or warp speed, so like they could get there at any point. My Halo nerd friend was saying that they don't know where Reach is, and that was a big deal. But then at the end of the second episode, they say they're on Reach, and then they show them on Sword Base, which is on Reach. So it's like, if they're already there, why are they being secretive? I know they want the artifact maybe because they want to get to the Halo, but that's another thing. Are we even ever going to get to the Halo? Because
that's season 5, baby.
Well, once we get to the Halo, you can't do your political intrigue and stuff because Reach is gone. Like, most of your planets are completely destroyed, and you've kind of just got a couple of capital ships and the big old Halo with a war going on it. So
I think the timeline is going to be very weird with how they introduce Halo. Like I feel like when we might not even get there at the end of this season, but maybe like 3 episodes into season 3 we'll get arrival onto Halo.
I wouldn't be shocked if
like maybe end of this season we finally get the completed map.
So does it become Battlestar Galactica at that point? Like, which is a fantastic show, but I don't trust that they'll be able to do it. I mean, shrinking it down to that close quarters would make it a lot more threatening, but then we're just getting Battlestar Galactica again, because they're going to want to keep the political intrigue. And
the political intrigue was very heavy in season 1, because it's like, you're going to get funding, you're not going to get funding, you're in charge of this team, you know? It's like, you're on the project, parallel projects, you know, who's going to study the artifact?
Which also wasn't interesting.
You know, you're off the job. But then it's like, now this season, they just reintroduced a new human character to just replace Halsey.
Yes. Wait, who is from the books?
He is okay.
Nerd says. Yeah,
that's perfectly
Nerd
fine.
Says they are from the
I'm
books.
perfectly fine with that.
But I don't think they're from either that particular place. It kind of feels like they scrolled down a character Wikipedia and just said, okay, we need Halsey, we need General Guy.
I need something a bit different. I need something a bit different than the company man who's now taken over this. Like I just need a new flavor.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I just need something to grab onto. Like the show itself, because we're talking about how it's like the White Walkers are coming. But I don't care about the people that are going to die yet. I know literally no one. They got rid of Miranda Keyes. Like, she might still be around, but she wasn't in the first two episodes. Season. And she was the only, like, human character that was, like, an actual person that did things.
And then she, like, found things out. She was actually like, oh my God.
My dad's an army guy.
She's like, Chief, I'm so sorry. Like, she, like, feels emotions. Whereas everyone else is like, I'm in it for the job.
John 117. Jack 117, because he's not fairly Master Chief.
Jacked 117.
Jacked 117. Because he's not really... like, he knows what happened to his parents now. He has all of his memories back that we can tell. He doesn't have Cortana. So it's like, he really doesn't have anything going on. He's just like, those dastardly Covenant are coming. Oh no.
Yeah, well, people think he's crazy. So.
Yeah, sorry. He might be still hallucinating. So, like, people are worried about what he'll do. But because he's kind of our guy, he's not, like, narrating or anything. So he's not unreliable narrator. It's not like we're not sure what he's seeing is real. We saw it. We know that the elites were on the planet. So it doesn't really matter that the elites are scouting and stuff, like they're doing training missions to take out Reach. Because, like, again, you could glass all of Reach, and I don't care, because I know no one in Reach. The only people... I know Perez, actually.
Yeah.
We now know...
We now have a human character.
We now have Corporal Cutie. Yeah. And if she dies, I'll be like, dang, that's rough.
But it's like, I don't care enough about her. I understand, like, I don't know, she's, I guess, going through her own, like, PTSD stuff.
Yeah. Which will suck up a lot of time. Yeah.
Well, it's like, I'm waiting for her to just, like, come forward. Because, at least, hopefully I was catching this. She hasn't corroborated Chief's story. Because they keep saying, we can't corroborate your story.
Like she got hit in the head or something and can't remember any of it.
Yeah, interesting. But I'm waiting for her to just be like, oh no, I remember it. And they'd be like, okay. Or they'd be like, oh, they are here. And it's like, okay. So I just feel like all of this is going through. And I understand that's how conflict gets resolved. It's
just going to be, damn, Chief, you were right.
Exactly. And I know it's going to end there. It's like when you show someone being alive in the future, and it kind of just takes a bit of like are they going to die risk out of it. It's like, I know that everything Chief's going to go through with this fucking, the new guy at the lab is going to end up with them going, Chief, you were right. You know, or him being like, do you believe me now? When he like kills an elite over him or something.
Because that's why Rogue One didn't work, but Andor did. I don't think you watched Andor, but people raved about it. But no one cared about Rogue One because we didn't spend any time getting to know this guy. And we already knew they were all going to die to get the plans of the Death Star. So no one cared. But as soon as they gave us Andor and we actually watched him do other things that weren't related, we're like, okay, he will die eventually. But look at this different problem that I want to watch him deal with. Like, he has so many other things to do, and then he'll die later on. Whereas Rogue One was literally, it's going to happen, and then it's going to die. Whereas, like, obviously Reach is going to fall, assuming everyone's heard of that. And so they could at least give us a bunch of small stories on Reach, anything. We should probably go through what little plot there is. We've kind of touched on it, but episode 1 it starts on the Sanctuary.
Firstly, I just got to say, apart from the starting part with Sanctuary, these 2 episodes just are kind of so blurry and like, I'm just like, what happened in here?
It's barely an episode structure. I know I wank on and on about the goddamn every episode should work as an episode, but nothing happens at the end of episode 1. Yeah. Like, they blew their entire load at the beginning of episode 1 to try to make people go, oh, okay, I'm in. Like,
and don't get us wrong,
cool.
The fight scene in episode 1 with Chief in the Mist was pretty good, very quick
and very animated. Like, it was very CGI.
He's not John Chief anymore. He's John Wick now.
It's very Master obvious Wick when they're cutting between the two. So it's just strange to see. Like, it's such a massive jump in 2024. Like, I feel like effects should be slightly better now. But obviously he can't do all those things in the suit. It's a giant suit.
Yeah.
But when you're watching something that looks like the end of Black Panther, like
Yeah.
it just means nothing.
There are some glaring ones where, like, especially when they're like rolling and tussling and stuff, where you're just like, this is all completely CG right here.
You could just play the video game and then you get a better story and you get better action because you're getting the cutscenes, which will probably look on par.
Yeah.
Like Halo Infinite probably looks on par with this. And then maybe.
Also, they gave him a grappling hook.
He's got a grappling
Someone played
hook.
Halo Infinite.
Yeah, they gave it a 2-episode premiere so that you would be like, oh, something actually happened.
Do you know what other show did a 2-episode premiere?
Echo? No, that was all of them.
No. Ahsoka did a 2-episode
Ahsoka
premiere.
did. For the exact same reason.
Exactly.
No one knows how to write goddamn TV shows anymore. They had 2 hours. They made they made a feature-length premiere of Halo Season 2.
Just imagine if
and
episode 1
nothing
was
happened.
so good.
What if it was just a movie? They should have just focused of like, we're going to release a Halo movie every few weeks and it's a trilogy. Like, we're just doing a trilogy,
Yeah.
but it's every month, like first day of every month, and then you'd still get the amount of watch time. You'd
like
probably get the exact same things.
four-part series, title it The Fall of Reach or whatever. You know? It's just like, oh goddamn, it gives you an idea.
And that
you
way
know.
maybe they can focus on the fact that at the end of the episode, it should feel like the end of an episode. Episode 2 feels a little bit more, only because they decide to go do something. But that just means that episode 1 really does.
It just seems like they put out like whatever 9 blank photos. How many episodes are we getting? 9 or 10?
Guess 9 again. Yeah, sure.
And then someone just got a pen and did this.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was just a dartboard and they hit a picture and they're like, okay, action scene in that one. Because yeah, after the first action scene in the first episode, you get nothing. After Chief beats up a couple, like he kills a fair few elites and then gets knocked down, and then suddenly there's 20 more elites and he's like, oh god, but then they decide to leave because the main one's maybe the Arbiter.
Is it?
Maybe.
I'm just like, please, that'd be cool.
I was give us something interesting,
Yeah.
and then is that the
But
one?
how are
is
they
that the
going to
one with-
animate a Covenant character in like light, talking and
I
stuff?
don't know, the sage wheelchair aliens looked really good in the
Prophets.
first.
The Prophets looked
looked
good.
really good in the first season.
But I don't know how. I don't have faith that they can do it well within Elite.
I think maybe if it doesn't move too much, they can do it. Because yeah, it
Just have like a Jim Henson
It goes
puppet.
so back and forth. Like yeah, like sometimes it looks really good, and other times it looks like a video game. And it's, are they not getting the budget or the time? Who knows? But this show's had like 2 years since last season. Like
Also, 2 years, guys.
Game of Thrones was goddamn yearly for most of it, and they were doing more longer episodes. Yeah, so after he does all that stuff on Reach, he literally just goes back to Reach, and then no one believes him, and they ground his whole unit. So it's like, cool, now I'm watching a show about Master Chief that doesn't do anything. He can't fight people. He can't go out. All he can do is brood and walk
Also,
around
the fact that they don't have like full recordings from every Spartan helmet at all times.
And he's actually wearing his helmet for once, so
He's
like,
wearing
he
his
should
helmet.
have it.
But back to what you were saying, I know what they're going for. They're going for like we still need you as a symbol of peace. So we still need you doing these missions
Yeah.
for like, so they can see you. But you know, you're a liability. So we're like kind of semi-grounding you. We're putting on these babysitting missions. I know what they want to do, but they're just doing it bang.
Yeah, it's like they're half-assing it, and I'm not sure whether that's ineptitude or whether they actually want to.
Like he needs to be like Captain America back before he has like the gene therapy.
Which is weird at the because that's the beginning. Like
I need to see the guy being like, I'm grounding you and your unit unless you do these things for me. You're going on a fucking press tour to every base. You're going to give out medals of honor to these Marines. I need Marines to know that they're good enough. And you are just going to sit there and like help me with this.
it'd be some shows could definitely do that, and it'd be cool to see like if Captain America literally had to do lazy man stuff like he does at the beginning of Captain America.
Oh yeah, it can only last for one episode. People would revolt.
But with this, because John has no character, it's basically like it wouldn't matter if he did it. He'd just give out the medals and he'd just brood the whole time. There'd be no internal struggle. It wouldn't be interesting, which is unfortunate. Yeah, he does this. He does this most of the time.
Oh my God.
He's just the rest of the episode of Chief really is just him brooding before he finally decides. He does a little bit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, finds out where Kamino is, and then
He goes and does like he goes to like a prostitution hologram room, and she's like, "Are you lonely, handsome? I can fix that."
And he's like,
"Dun."
I'm gonna make you
know?
look like Cortana, and Cortana looks different now. That's not really.
They're like, "We fixed
That's
her,"
neither here nor there.
but
she,
it's like,
she just looks less like Halsey now. She
she looks like Halsey. Her hair's a little bit different. Her clothes are a bit different.
But they didn't just make her Cortana, which is like they had the chance, they could have Sonicked her and like done the whole like, okay guys, we fixed it. But instead they're like, we tweaked her slightly. Hope you're happy. Like, why bother half-assing it? And And so the other half of episode 1 and 2 is basically split between Soren.
Well, I'll say 40% Soren.
Between the 2 episodes?
Yep. And 10% of this very weird, what are they trying to go for, Halsey stuff.
Yes, Halsey is a prisoner of the new guy that's pretending to be Halsey.
And she's on like a holodeck on Sword Base.
And it seems like she's trying to get information out of a clone, but we don't know why.
Well, I can't wait to find out who the clone is, like the significance of the person. We don't know
who the Flash clone is, why they're only giving her enough time to die, why Halsey's doing this, why they're in a
We had to go back and watch the scene where new Meanie McGrumpman was speaking with Cortana, and I'm like, what's happening?
What does he want from her?
I'm like, why is the tree on fire?
I still don't know.
Because she said her daddy's pear tree lit on fire in the store.
I know about the pear tree, but like, why is it connected to Halsey's brain?
Yeah,
but
I wonder
don't know
what's trying to happen. Also, they tracked her down like so quickly.
between the
like
seasons.
Season 1 ends and they're like, ma'am, your drop ship is ready or whatever, and she walks away with somebody, and this season she's immediately like under this guy's like capture.
Characters regressing between seasons is never fun. It's why I hate the third Hunger Games. If you come back to your character, Luke Skywalker, if you come back and they're less than they were, that sucks. It's never fun. Not that I liked Halsey to begin with, but
she's supposed to be written like a mega genius. You know, she figured out the Spartan program and all that stuff. So, and she, like her whole season 1 stuff is, you know, playing people. I have this backup plan. Yep. You can't do that because I'm going to rat on you,
and she has a goal, or at least she had a goal. It kind of went from she wanted Master Chief to be the best he could be and to get her...
But she just wanted to find Halo.
She wanted to get Cortana off. And then... But she didn't know about Halo. She just knew about the artifact. She didn't know what it did. She was just like, oh, I want that. And she was just like, John was always special. So again, maybe that's why they stuck with her, because they didn't really... she has no driving force. No one really has anything to do. Master Chief is kind of the only one with any, like, goal, and even then it's defeat the Covenant.
Yeah.
Like,
well, now he has like a side mission he's unlocked that he has to do before he can continue with the main mission.
Yep.
Now he has to figure out...
He has to rescue Cobalt Team.
Because the main guy refuses to tell people that the Covenant are out there, but he saw the guy from Cobalt Team, and he said, he goes, hey, just pretend like it's real, or something like that, along those lines.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, just make sure you're not half-assing it. Just make sure you're always on, you know? Which they should be, because they have their pellets.
Yes.
So they should always be...
But they don't really act any different to Silver Team?
They have egos, but I guess Spartans have egos, I guess.
We also got a small random bit of the second lady Spartan.
Ricky? No.
Reiki? She's hurt a little bit.
She had her shoulder like blown apart.
Yeah, she's not operating 100%, but that gets a lot of screen time.
She's going to like a spiritual healer now.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to go like full like under the knife, like modifications.
Get the robot arm thing you were talking
Get a
about.
robot arm or something like Cat from Reach. But I was like, oh, he's just like, that is your pain, you know? Like he's going to like just mysticism her.
Or he has superpowers, because last season they turned water.
They gave Master Chief superpowers, so why not just give this guy superpowers?
I don't really know what they want to do. There's no end goal apart from the very vague defeat them. Whereas Game of Thrones that they're trying to replicate, every single character had a need and a want and a goal, and you could within a couple of episodes you were like, he wants to fuck his sister and become king. Like, cool, like. But no one in this has anything.
What do you reckon is happening with Soren, and what do you think is happening with Quan?
That's right. So Soren got arrested
by an undercover twink.
Who do they work for? Did they say?
They just said under arrest.
Yeah. So
I guess the UNSC or just the space police.
Yeah, and they lured him away from his home to arrest him.
Which was maybe an inside job.
Everyone on Rubble, which is from the books, is already a bad guy. So why'd they specifically go after him? They've never really shown us... He probably
has a bounty on his head.
They've never really shown us him doing anything piracy. He's just king of the pirates on the thing.
No, he did a job in episode 8 with his crew. They stole a hyperdrive or something.
Okay.
Season 1, his whole thing was aside from the Quan stuff, it was your second in charge doesn't think you don't got it anymore. And he's like, I got a score. And Soren's like, I don't give a fuck. And then he's like, nah, I give a fuck. And then they go and do this job together. And Soren kind of pins him under a forklift thing, and he's like, you don't think I got it? And then flexes his dominance. And then season 2 starts, And straight away his wife's like, they don't think you got it. Your whole thing at the end of season 1 was they don't think you got it.
So,
prove it to them
again,
by
just
saying
character
you'll
regression.
kill your second lieutenant to prove you got it. But then now they just regressed him again. Because I guess now he's getting sloppy again.
Which means his goal is just going to be to get back to where he was at the end of last season. So he's just going to redo his same arc.
But I guess his wife is saying like he's getting sloppy because he's maybe like focused on Halsey instead of doing pirate stuff. But then again, why wasn't he always after Halsey?
Yeah, we never really saw him go after Halsey. They just said, you've chased her 4 times. I'm like, okay. So it's just directionless. It has no idea what it wants to be.
I wonder what's going to happen with him. If they're going to like try and reintroduce him to the Spartan program, or he's just going to go to jail.
Yeah, and Quan don't care at all.
I'm just like, what is happening?
Like, she was a slave suddenly. They glassed Madrigal. I'm like, she's gone.
She has to go back to Madrigal somehow because that's where
glassed.
Yeah, but they still have the mystical portal there, which I'm sure is
that
still
she was meant to
there.
be guarding when she disappeared after episode 7 or whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, they showed us has no idea what it wants to be.
I feel like there will be a return to Madrigal.
I hope they do something. But
And I'm not talking about the family from Encanto.
welcome to the family, Madrigal. It'll be interesting to see what they do next episode. And by interesting, I mean it's a morbid curiosity. Like, I don't care, but I want to see what they spend a whole episode doing.
Yeah, the only thing that's pulling me to the next episode is, one, we've got to release weekly content because YouTube, please. And secondly, I just want to see what happens with this dumpster fire. If you watch these first 2 episodes of season 2, nothing's bringing you back.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck. Yes, Maki is back. And with a Covenant under like the UNSC base. Like,
Yeah.
yes, something's happening with Chief and the Spartans, Miranda, Quan, Soren, but nothing is drawing me. If I didn't have to do this for a job, maybe one day, I wouldn't care. The
Agreed.
reason I only watched season 1 last week,
It was for this.
I didn't care. It was for this, you know.
This is most of the show. Just people walking around offices. Oh, another thing that it doesn't have, that Game of Thrones definitely have, and that made Game of Thrones so popular, is each area is very distinct. Instead, we got a planet named Sanctuary. They've name dropped like 4 other planets. Most of it spent in these apartment buildings, which make it look like Reach is like this pristine utopia. But then they showed him walking through the dingy underground, and then they cut to Rubble, which is an asteroid, but is also just like a dingy underground. So there's no real difference between those two.
Yeah.
And even then, we only have 2 places to go. It's just got nothing. It's got no personality.
Yeah, the place, there should have been, I don't know, like show Chief going like somewhere different to get to his like dingy underground, because it looks like he doesn't really go that far. It's like he just kind of walks with his hoodie on, and then he finds like the strip sex gambling hub of Reach. It's like, okay, I guess everyone needs somewhere to blow off steam.
I guess we're here now. But alas.
There's also a game based on them in the universe.
Yes, which they've never showed, but it's called Spartan Assault.
Yeah.
Which I guess is Halo.
What's your KDR?
And they're playing Halo, and they thought it was a funny meta joke. But it was just like, I'm very disappointed in you, Halo.
Where do you think, just quickly, where do you think this season ends?
Okay, prediction time. We're going to see space combat, big open field battles, lots of Spartans dying, Reach gets glassed, maybe the Pillar of Autumn gets introduced for the season's end, and with it approaching Halo or some shit. And then then I will be keen for season 3. There can't be any politics, espionage, walking around in the underbelly of a city. It'll just be them on a ring world with the greatest threat to the galaxy waiting to be unleashed. And I don't think so. I think they'll do something shitty.
Yeah, I think this season will be on Reach.
I'm gonna wager they're not gonna glass Reach.
Interesting.
I think they're gonna change shit.
Because they can.
They're either not gonna glass Reach or it'll turn into Battlestar. Like, nothing will fundamentally change. It'll fundamentally stay this.
Because
If it
having
gets to season
a
3.
space station, I don't think that's where they want to go.
Well, we've got Rubble already, which is basically a space station.
But I don't think they want to be like, we're in this big ship. Now this is our command center. You know, I think they want to have a city.
I just don't see where this is going. We have no end goal.
I think this end of this season is going to be the completion of the map, and then season 3 will be getting to Halo, because there's going to be challenges in the way.
See, I didn't even really think there was missing parts of the map. I thought they figured that out.
Well, they shot the thing and they said, oh, it's not complete. Like maybe she didn't touch it for
okay.
long enough.
I remember a big space map and yeah, okay.
No, that's why they're going back after the relic, because they need to take a second.
Touch it for longer.
Correct.
Cool.
Well, I think she just went, whatever.
Thanks, Halo.
We'll see you next week, Master Cheeks. There better be cheeks. She didn't meet the cheek quota.
What did you guys think? Tell us down below what you thought of Halo.
Oh, subscribe if you like it. Subscribe if you hate it.
Tell me where you think this show is going to go. I don't know.
I think if I showed it to my girlfriend or something, she'd be very bored by it, because she just would be like, how the fuck?